discovered about 1.5 years ago. I started crock-potting about 2.5 years ago, following some very bad eating habits that entailed me eating out fast food a lot and then hardly eating at all because I put the weight on, starving the weight off, and I went back and forth with that for a few years. And then I decided, you know what, I've got to start cooking at home. So the first thing that I did was to get a crock pot and start putting together recipes for that. And today we're going to make crock pot lasagna. I know you're thinking, lasagna in a crock pot? It's actually really good.
Alright, so first we got to start off with the ingredients. We have grated Parmesan, we have ricotta cheese, because any lasagna with cottage cheese in it is just cottage cheese and pasta. I prefer real ricotta cheese. We have shredded mozzarella, we have minced garlic, we have onions, of course lasagna pasta, we have 2 pounds of Italian sausage, because again, ground beef is an American dish, ground sausage is an Italian dish, and then we have already prepared tomato sauce. That's for the sake of time, and we have a crock pot. Alright, let's get busy.
And so let's start putting that stuff together. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to throw the Italian sausage into the skillet. For this, I use 2 pounds of Italian sausage. We've got the Italian sausage in, so we're going to chop this up a little bit, start getting the heat going. If you like today's video, be sure to hit like, and would appreciate it if you'd also hit subscribe. If you want the recipe for crock-pot lasagna, you're definitely going to have to hit some likes. Like the fuck out of it. Okay. Alright, we have the Italian sausage going in the pan. The next thing we're going to add is onions. I generally like a lot of onions, especially when they're going to be cooked. We're also going to add the tomato sauce I've already put together just for time purposes.
As you can see, we have everything added into the skillet and we're cooking it up now.
So one of the most important things that you can do when you're struggling with your mental health is to keep your health up and your physical health up. And take care of yourself, eat, make sure you get plenty of rest, which is not always the easiest thing to do when you're struggling, especially with depression or anxiety. So cooking was a coping skill that really helps. You can actually just throw yourself into the kitchen. Just sausage around a little bit. Throw yourself into the kitchen. Sometimes you can, like if you're baking or you're making a meal from scratch, you can actually take up a good hour, couple hours, with the prep time and everything else that goes into it, and kind of really take your mind off everything.
As you can see, the sausage is coming along good. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind on the sausage is you really kind of want to take this off the heat at about 3/4 to 80% done, because you have to keep in mind it is going to continue to cook in the crock pot. I just always want to make sure I take it up to about that much, because I want to make sure that the garlic has had plenty of time to soak into the meat and the onions are good and done, so that you don't get that raw onion taste in your lasagna. And then another hint for what I like to do is I rarely will ever drain the Italian sausage. It actually soaks up oil pretty good on its own, and the minced garlic help with that a little bit. So that is something that you can keep in mind. I find when I drain the Italian sausage that it actually drains some of that garlic out, and I like to have that in the sauce. So I will generally just go with the Italian sausage, add it right to the sauce, and then stir it up completely, and then start preparing the lasagna.
I will share the recipe with you in the comments below if you like the fuck out of my video. 20 likes and I will share the recipe. It actually comes out really good. So I'm going to keep you guys with me throughout the video as we complete the sausage. The pasta is a little bit tricky. You need to pre-soak that just a little bit to soften it up to make it a little bit more pliable when you're putting it into the crock pot. Some of the other things that I added in the tomato is I've got additional garlic in the sauce, basil, tomatoes, oregano, and just some of the basic Italian seasoning. Of course, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. This will actually make a good solid 6 servings. So I will be having lasagna for dinner tonight, probably lunch tomorrow, and Labor Day is this weekend, so I'll get to probably eat some of it. I always take over some to friends, kind of let them try it out. If you want to substitute garlic powder for the minced garlic, that is totally your choice. If I have a problem with this recipe, it comes when I don't have enough garlic. So it's actually a great recipe. It's one of my favorites. And as we go down the road with these videos, I'm going to share more of my crock-pot recipes. So I'm going to go and work on the sausage, and then I'll be back in just a few minutes as we're getting closer to having that done. I have not figured out time-lapse yet and how to do that. It's something that I'm building up to. You've noticed in my videos, I have started adding text to the videos. I've added subscribe buttons here and there to the videos. This is all something that I'm picking up. As I stated when I first started this channel, I had never used a camera for something like this. I had no clue how to do the YouTube video software. I actually use iMovie, and I also use a website called TubeBuddy to help me put these videos together and get them broadcast on YouTube. So if you're starting a YouTube channel and you want a little bit of help, I will recommend iMovie and I will recommend TubeBuddy. Okay, so I'm going to get back to cooking and I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Alright, so I think the sausage is just about done, so we're going to go ahead and take that from the heat and get ready to add that to the sauce.
So we have the sausages done, and now we are going to add that into the tomato sauce. How much you chop up your Italian sausage is totally up to you. I like mine to be a little bit chunkier. I just feel like it makes a better lasagna as far as consistency goes from what I like. The garlic rendered down really, really well. I'm anxious to kind of sample this once I get everything in. And then I'm going to take a spatula. I'm going to remove all the extra garlic. Make sure I get all that in the sauce. I really could not believe how good this turned out the first time I made it. First time I made it, the garlic I missed out on a lot. I used garlic powder with that original recipe because that's what the recipe had called for. The original recipe, actually, I'll be honest, the original recipe called for ground beef, it called for cottage cheese, it called for garlic powder, and it called for jarred tomato sauce. So over the last 18 months as I've improved this, I have subbed out the Italian sausage for the ground beef. Ooh, we've got a little bit more. And I added onions because onions was not in the original recipe. I substituted the minced garlic for the garlic powder. I added basil and oregano to the tomato sauce. I stopped using the jarred tomato sauce and started making my own. Thank you, Brandy, by the way, for that sauce recipe. Added oregano and quit putting garlic powder in the sauce. Actually started rendering it down in the hamburger. Okay, so we've got the sauce all mixed up. up at a medium to semi-high heat. What I do is I actually will put it on a lower heat, and I will cover it, and then I will let it sit for about half an hour. Let that tomato soak up the garlic. Let it, the sauce kind of build up a little bit. All right, so
I wanted to kind of give you a quick look at how the sauce looks once you've added it. Once you've added the Italian sausage into the actual tomato sauce. So it's taking everything I have right now, not to make some angel hair pasta and enjoy a little spaghetti while I'm waiting. Okay, so I'm going to let this simmer for about 30 minutes, and then we will be back. Now, one thing I like to do is I actually like to coat the bottom of the crock pot with a little bit of tomato sauce and just a small splash of olive oil. This will help the lasagna to stop from sticking as it's cooking through.
okay, we are ready to start putting our lasagna together. I like the flat lasagna noodles, but to each is their preference. Whether you like flat or you like the wavy ones, it's totally up to you. I prefer the flat, and I'll explain to you why here in just a minute. Now, I did pre-soak these for about 10 minutes, and that is just to make them a little bit more pliable as I'm adding it in the lasagna. Alright, so okay, that looks good. So now, once you've got the first layer of lasagna in, so what we're going to do is we're going to cover that layer with a nice helping of tomato sauce. And after you have the level that you would like, we're going to add the ricotta cheese. And again, you're just looking for a decent little layer here, mixed up in there with the Italian sausage and tomato sauce. It does not have to be perfect because, keep in mind, this is going to melt and it's going to spread a little bit. Now, the one thing that you want to be sure of is that you don't do too much of the ricotta, because you don't want your consistency to become runny. Alright, so now what I will generally do is I will put just another thin layer of the Italian sausage and tomato sauce, just a little bit. And then we're going to add some grated Parmesan cheese, shredded actually. And we're going to throw that in there. And just a nice little thin layer. Alright, so we've got that, and then we are going to go back, and we are going to do our next layer of pasta. And we're just going to put that in there, and we're going to take pieces there, make sure we got the ends filled out. Alright. And we're going to add yet another, trying hard not here to get sauce all over the counter. We're going to add another layer. So right now we are at 2 layers. Actually, I take that back. This is going to be the second layer. Alright, and then we're going to add some more ricotta. And I know I mentioned this well, actually I mentioned this when I was finishing the sauce, but while the sauce was simmering for that half an hour, and to each their own, but I really find that the sauce is richer when I let it settle like that. I fucking nailed the sauce. Like, the garlic is fucking perfect. Like, I am not even gonna lie. I wish you guys were here. I could share it with you, because
I am so pleased with how that came out. Okay, so we've got the ricotta in. We're going to add just a little bit more of the sauce, just to kind of help the consistency as the ricotta melts. Remember to keep stirring your sauce up as you're adding it because it will break down a little bit. All right, and we're going to add some more mozzarella. Now, as I don't do this on the first layer, and I don't know, I've just got my fucking idiosyncrasies, I guess. So on the second layer, in addition to the Parmesan cheese, I will add some grated, on top of the ricotta and the mozzarella, I will actually add a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. Please buy your grated Parmesan cheese from the grocery store or your Whole Food Mart or Trader Joe's. Do not use fucking Kraft grated cheese. That is not real grated cheese. I'm sorry. I have Italians in my family, so I take how Italian food is prepared extremely personal. We're making Italian lasagna today. We are not making fucking American stylized lasagna. That is why I made the big beef earlier about the cottage cheese. I don't know whose brilliant idea that was to ever come up with that. The only time I ever had cottage cheese in my lasagna when I was growing up is if I was eating at somebody else's house. Or my mom made it because my mom was fucking lazy. In the kitchen. But, in defense, Mom, because she is no longer with us, she did raise 2 kids by herself. So I will give her a little bit of props on that and give her a break for cottage cheese and lasagna. It is, so much easier to just scoop out. It's cheaper when you're raising 2 kids to buy cottage cheese instead of ricotta. It is cheaper to use hamburger when you're raising 2 kids instead of Italian sausage. So we've got our next layer down. Add some more ricotta. So far, this is looking really, really good. Now, the next bit of the thing is, again, this is going to come down to personal preference. Some people like the top layer of their lasagna to be pasta. Some people like it to be the sauce. I am of the faction that prefers the top layer be the sauce. And for me, it's just because when you add the cheese afterward as you're getting ready to actually sit down and eat it, I cannot wait to show you how good this looks when it comes out of the Crockpot layer. I really can. I was blown away the first time that I made this. Because the thing is you do not have to soften up your pasta at all. You can completely use uncooked pasta and it will soften up in that 4-hour cook time. Actually, end up having a little bit left over. So, please raise your hand if you've ever sat around the kitchen where your mom was making spaghetti or your dad was making spaghetti and you chomped on the raw spaghetti as it was being cooked. Don't lie. Raise your fucking hands. I know there was more of you than that. Alright, so since I like the sauce to be on the top, we're going to add this last little bit. And for me, what it just really comes down to is I love the extra gooey cheese
Do not reheat it in the microwave. Honestly, put it in your oven. Put it at about 200. Let it warm through. This extra gooey cheese that we're going to put on the top, that's going to spread out and melt all down the sides, will be nice and brown on a reheat. Do not ruin my fucking lasagna by microwaving it after it's done. I'm actually just kidding. If you want to reheat it in the microwave, it's your recipe. You are more than welcome to. So we're going to add the last bit of the ricotta cheese to the top here. Now, for my intent purposes, for all intents and purposes, I actually got a 32-ounce container of the ricotta cheese. No, it doesn't look like I'm going to get to use all of it. Like I said, and you do not have to worry about making it all nice and even, Steven, all across the top, because it is going to melt out a little bit and get a little bit more consistent. Your sauce will also continue to settle and firm up during the reheat, because again, you're going to be on here for 4 hours. I'm going to add the last little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now on this top layer, I tend to go a little bit heavier. And then I'm going to add a thin layer of Parmesan, grated Parmesan cheese. Alright, we're going to get rid of the extra stuff over here. Clean off our hands a little bit. Okay, and we have now have crock-pot lasagna ready to start. So what I generally do is I will put it on high for about a half an hour, just to kind of get the heat going, and then I will turn it down on low, and I will leave it there for anywhere from 3.5 to 4 hours. You can check it, take a little piece out, see if the pasta is where you would like it personally. I guarantee you it will. So, crock-pot lasagna, I'm telling you, it is fucking fire. If you want it, hit the like button 20 times. I will list the recipe in the comments section. Please be sure to subscribe. And we are not done yet. I am going to use a different camera to give you an aerial view of how it looks like in the crock pot, so you kind of have an idea of how it looked finished.
Alright, and this is how your finished product should look before you put the lid on it.
And we're going to come back in 4 hours, and we're going to take it off the heat, and we are going to try a piece together. So, thanks for hanging out with me. Remember, we're not done. And hit that fucking like button if you want the recipe. It is the bomb. I will give you every step that I take. I will list you the ingredients, how much of each to get. I always recommend doing that 2 pounds of Italian sausage so you have a little bit extra for some spaghetti down the road. We're going to go. We're going to let this cook and see how it tastes at the end.
And that is the finished product. It might not look pretty on the outside, but we're about to see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, well, it has been a long day. We prepped the lasagna, we got it cooked in the crock pot, and now we are going to try our finished lasagna. Alright, let's give it the taste test. That's really good. That is really good. Oh gosh, I got the garlic perfect on it. The pasta came out awesome. Oh, that's so good. Oh. Alright, so I am going to take my lasagna and I'm going to go have a seat on the couch and kind of recover from a busy day. I thank all of you guys for coming out and hanging out with me today. As I said before, I would love to share the Crockpot lasagna recipe with you. So good. But you need to like the fuck out of this video. 20 likes get you the recipe in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you saw today, or you've liked any of the other videos that I've done. Please feel free to go back and check those out. Hit the like button. Please leave comments. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know any crockpot meal that you would like me to research and try to pull off for you. It has been a great day. I love having you guys in my kitchen. Blessings to all of you. I'm so grateful for you. If you're struggling for mental health, please reach out to somebody, call a friend, let somebody be there for you. If you know somebody who is struggling for mental health, please pick up that phone and give them a call. Go knock on that door and let them know you care. Together, maybe tomorrow we can save one life. Thanks a bunch for visiting. Thanks a lot for hanging out. I love you guys, and I'll see you later.